How's everybody doing this evening?
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. I'm glad to be here too. It's sort of like taking a break when you've been in the boxing ring. You get an opportunity for a minute to go, okay, let me go home, let me take an intermission, let me be in my natural environment for a minute. Where there's a lot of peace, a lot of love, and some cool people. You know there's some cool people in the room, right?
Lots of them.
And what about cute? You see some cute people?
They're cute too.
They're cute and cool. Cute and cool. Cute and cool. Cute and cool.
Bunch of cute ones over there.
Yeah, that's right. You can see them. You can see them.
I can see. I see.
So I'm gonna play a song. I was debating whether or not to do it, but I feel like I need some music.
You do it up.
I need some music. And what I'd like to ask you to do while I'm playing it is, if you can, refrain from carrying on conversations and just allow yourself to be present and to let it in. I really appreciate it. Because it makes all the difference in the world in the classes when we allow ourselves to just kind of focus in together. And then we become this powerful healing force. This powerful healing force for all of us. And this is one of my favorite songs. It's called Love is a Beautiful Thing. And it goes something like this. You don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe, some of it's going to be quite startling. You're not being asked to judge and analyze it. If you use it and apply it, you'll see that it works. And we're going to, in the Way of Mastery, we're in part 2, the Way of Transformation, lesson 20 on page 249. Part 2, the Way of Mastery, the Way of Transformation, lesson 20, vigilance for the kingdom. Vigilance for the love. Vigilance for the kingdom. And when I go through this and I read through it, I'm going to do it in such a way that hopefully will engage our minds, because it's real easy as soon as we start to listen to truth to zone out. And that's why it says constantly in these books, read me slowly. Because, and also questions hook the mind. So when we get a chance to do it in such a way that we're getting our minds engaged, that makes all the difference in the world, because it's our mind that's everything. It's our mind that's creating everything. And everything we experience. And in the paragraph that starts with, guess what? Mind is everything. That's the paragraph I'm starting with. The paragraph that says, mind is everything, on page 249. So if you truly desire more than believing in Christ, believing in the one self we all share, the love we all share, the identity we all share, that's what the Christ is, then you must assume responsibility. So if you're going to go more than just believing in love, then you have to assume responsibility. What is it that we have to assume responsibility for? For transforming the mind. How do you transform the mind? By using your very ordinary moments in which to see differently. So I'm going to transform my mind by using this time with you to see differently. You're transforming your mind by using this time together to see differently. And it says, as you reshape how you use the mind in every moment, when you reshape how you use your mind in every moment, you will come to taste profound freedom. And when you're experiencing real freedom, do you know what happens when you experience real freedom? It carries you instantly beyond the things in space and time. They will seem to be arising within you and passing away within you. Universe is rising and passing away within the holy mind of Christ, which is the holy mind of love. So that's the greatest gift given unto you. What are you worthy of desiring the most? What are you, interesting question. What are you worthy of desiring the most? What are you worthy? Like sometimes people desire things that if they would be honest with themselves, they don't believe they're worthy of it. They'll be asking for stuff that they don't really think they deserve. So you will indeed discover and create your pathway to your own consummate awakening. You will discover and create your pathway to your awakening. So the pathway to your awakening is actually being created by you. So that means there can be no end to the mind of God. There can be no end to the mind of love. You live forever within the mind of God, the mind of love, like one who lives in an infinite forest. So why not be at play in the kingdom? Why not play? Why not be at play? Why not play? Why not play? It was like when you were a kid, it was like your job was to play. It's like you got up in the morning, it's like your parents go to work, you got up to go play. And that's the way it was for me, and then you play till you passed out. Right? You didn't mind doing overtime either. If anything, would be your parents that would say, and when I was growing up back in the olden days, the other century,
Actually.
my mother was overprotective in my perception, and that meant she told me I had to stay in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it is today where kids can't even go off the porch.
Yeah.
You know, it's really sad. We played outside.
Yeah.
You know, and then we were, like I said, my mother was overprotective because she said stay in the neighborhood. And you leave in the morning and they just said be back home before dark. There wasn't no cell phones. They didn't know where you were. But they were just so thankful you were gone. They wouldn't even let you stay in the house.
No.
At least you gotta go out the house. You gotta go out. You gotta get out here and play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, now we watch them like hawks every second, you know, because of our fear. And we envelop our children with fear.
Yeah.
And then we magnetize them for fearful things because of our fear. So that's what he said. He said, why don't you play? Why don't we do this with an attitude of play? Where the temptation is to come to something like this and get all ready to be serious and depressed. You know, and so he's saying, enjoy your exercises. As you do them, you will taste a deepening remembrance of the truth that is true always. And so be you, therefore, at peace. And again, we extend our thankfulness to you for having set aside the roaring din of the world to abide with us in this way. For you see, communication is the great joy of the aspect of the sonship who choose to come together to delight in remembering the truth. We are choosing to come together to delight in remembering the truth. We chose to come together tonight to delight in remembering the truth. And the great joy of us doing this is communication. That's why people tend to say a class is good, not necessarily because of what I communicated, but they have a tendency to say this was a great class whenever it's a class that everybody communicates. It seems like that's when people go, well, that was a really good class tonight. Yeah, because when more people communicate during the discussion periods, then we feel more like we're joined and like we're not strangers to each other and like we're not afraid of each other. So communication is the great joy of us choosing to come together to delight in remembering the truth together. Therefore, it is our delight to create communication devices to join with you. You have a saying in your world, it takes two to tango. Thank you for joining with us in this celebratory dance. We're having a celebratory dance that remembers the truth. Okay. Oh, thank you very much.
All right.
Play will not kill you. All right, playing will not destroy you. Just try it sometimes. It's good. It's good stuff. Even if it scares you to death, play sometime. So now we're going to go into allowance is the doorway to the kingdom. Allowance is the doorway to happiness. Allowance is the doorway to love. Allowance. Not getting, not making, not forcing, allowing. Not getting, not making, not forcing, allowing is the doorway to the kingdom. It is not possible to be without love. Sorry. It's not possible for you to be without love. It's not possible for you to be alone. It's insane to think you are alone, according to the Course in Miracles. He says it's insane to believe that you are not alone unless another body is with you. That's a powerful statement. It's insane to think you are not alone, to think you are alone because another body is not with you. So that means that when you think you are alone because there are no other bodies with you, you're actually not alone. It's not possible for you to taste death. It's another way out statement. You don't die. That's deep. Your body appears to, but you don't. You don't die. You don't die. You don't die. Your body does. 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 You don't die. You don't die. Your communication device does. It's like, how successful can you be at picking up a television network without a television? Not at all. But does that mean the station isn't broadcasting? You just don't have the means to receive it. The body is, that analogy is like your body being the television set. and who you are is the broadcast. And without a body, people can't see you. They can't hear you in this plane. So in this plane is the body that allows us to communicate with each other. Without a body, it's hard to be heard. And if you are heard without a body, it freaks you out in the person that's hearing you. So that's why you don't hear voices that are disembodied. It would scare the hell out of you in most cases, which would make you doubt your own sanity. And if you doubt your own sanity, and it's your own sanity that's going to wake you up, trusting your own sanity, getting in touch with your own mind, that's going to wake you up, and you start doubting the sanity of your mind, then that's not helpful. And so the Course in Miracles in the Way of Mastery says that's why invisible teachers do not make their presence known in an overt way. It's because it would frighten us. So therefore, they communicate through people like me, and you, when you're willing to, become a vessel for the truth to come through. Because that's the level that we could receive it with the least amount of fear. But when you get to the point that you won't be afraid, then masters will start to appear before you. I look forward to it, but not tonight. Okay. When I go home, no invisible people appear in my living room. I appreciate it. Okay. Now, see, whether you believe that or not, this beats talking about the rest of the stuff people talking about.
That's true.
All right. Here's another strange thought. It's not possible for you to taste genuine loss. It's not possible for you to really lose. It's not possible for you to lose. It's not possible for you to lose. There's no such thing as losing what is real. You can't lose what's real. You cannot lose what's real. And it's not possible for you to suffer the dream of separation. It's not possible for you to be apart from your Creator. It's not possible to be separate from your Creator. It's not possible to be disconnected from your Creator. It's not possible to be separate from your Creator. It's not possible for you to fail. It's not possible for you to fail. It's not possible for you to harm anyone. It's not possible for you to hurt anyone. It's not possible for you to harm anything. It's not possible for you to be guilty of sin. It's not possible for you to be a sinner. It's not possible. It did not say it wasn't possible for you to believe you are guilty of sin. It is possible for you to believe you can harm someone. It is possible for you to believe you can fail. It is possible for you to believe you can be separate from your Creator. It's possible for you to believe that you can be separate. It's possible for you to believe that you can lose. It's possible for you to believe that you can die. It's possible for you to believe that you can be alone. It's possible for you to believe that you can be without love, but none of that's true. Okay, any thoughts, any questions, any comments about what I've shared so far?
Well, I guess it not being possible to hurt or kill or...
Did somebody say something?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thought you were like playing into the question. But no, elaborating on, I guess, not being possible to
Okay.
hurt or kill or do harm.
Right. It's the reason why it's not possible is what you really are as a spiritual being cannot lose, cannot hurt, cannot be harmed. The body can appear to be hurt, can appear to be destroyed, and can appear to be destructible. So what the issue is what are we? The real issue is, are you infinite consciousness, spirit, and being, or are you just a physical body that dies? So when it talks about us not being able to lose and us not being able to die, it's not talking about the me that I think I am. It's talking about the me that I really am, but I've forgotten who that really is because I have been hypnotized and mesmerized and programmed by the teachings of the world that I entered in. And so now I have no idea of who I really am. I'm just a conglomeration of memories and programmings and beliefs that I call me. And what these books keep doing is trying to get us to understand that who we think we are is not who we think we are, and that's why we go through so much what we think of as sadness and pain and loss, because nothing that we're doing is coming from our true self. So when we come together in a class like this, the purpose of it is to help us remember who we are. We're like amnesia victims who don't really remember who they are. And it's almost like that's Doug and this is me. I have amnesia, and not only do I not remember who I am, but everybody's teaching me that I'm Doug. So now I'm trying to act out of the Doug identity, and things aren't going to work out when I try to do stuff as Doug.
You're gonna have fun though.
Yeah. And I'm also going to be on the run. But I'll have fun on the run. There'll be some cool people in my getaway car, I'll tell you. So my point is, the reason why the world appears to be a place where people are suffering so much is because they're not acting according to who they really are. People are being who they think they are and who they were told they are. And the truth is saying, if you really were being who you really are, you would not be so sad and unhappy and depressed and afraid. That's your first clue that something is amiss, is that you have no true joy. That's your first clue. The universe isn't about the sadness that we keep going out of our sense of guilt and sin, thinking that we're not enough, thinking that we're not truly lovable or loved. And then every time you seek outside of yourself for the love, it's going to fail, because if you could be successful in seeking outside of yourself for love, you would never go within, which is where real love is. So if the universe supported your search for love outside yourself, it would be helping you deceive yourself about where your happiness is located. And what's interesting is that once you 100% turn your attention inward for your happiness, then you'll start seeing people showing up who appear to be giving you happiness from without. And that's the paradox of it. All of a sudden, you'll be surrounded by people who seem like they're offering you joy, but they're just reflecting back the joy you're offering yourself. And since most people are lousy at making themselves happy, they don't get excited when you tell them their happiness comes from them. Right? Like people always wonder why, like I understand why people don't jump up and down when I say your happiness comes from you. Because if you're pretty miserable, you think you failed at that. So you're kind of hoping there's somebody or something out there that's going to make you happy, since you've done such a lousy job of doing it for yourself. Right? And so I understand why people don't jump up and down in the truth class. Right? But what the truth also says is, since you've forgotten how to do that, you have help in an inner teacher and an inner guide that shows you how to get rid of the blocks to the happiness that's already in you that you'd like to see reflected. So you're not being asked to do it alone. You're being asked to stop seeking outside of yourself for it and holding someone else responsible for that. Stop holding other people responsible for making you happy. Because they're just going to mirror back to you what you need to heal in order for you to be happy. So they are going to serve that function. So if you do seek outside yourself, you're guaranteed to meet that which will get you in touch with what needs to be healed within yourself. That person is going to get you in touch with what your wounds are so that you can turn within and heal them. So you can, if you seek outside yourself, you can count on that. They're going to get you in touch with the unhealed parts of yourself. They're not going to make you happy. It's not going to make you happy, but they're going to show you what you are doing to yourself to keep you from being happy. And that's a beautiful thing. And you're doing the same thing for them. Yeah, Chris.
So I wanted to say this because I need to hear it.
Okay.
That I wanted to say, because you know how you're saying that God, the Holy Spirit, will help you. And when I'm really starting to it's starting to sink in, is that God will help me and I don't have to earn
No.
His favor. I don't have to earn for Him to help me.
No.
God will help me.
Right. Right, because you is comparing the love of God to the love of man. Because human love is not real love. So human love is all about earning it. You got to earn it. Divine love has nothing to do with that because divine love is whole, so it doesn't need to get anything from you, so therefore it's nothing you need to do to earn it. One of the best ways in the world to keep yourself from being disappointed, it's going to sound kind of weird to say this, but one of the best ways in the world to keep yourself from being disappointed by other people is don't expect them to act out your script in the first place. Because those expectations are the mother of grievances. So I know that, I hate to say this, but I don't believe any of you all really know how to do divine unconditional love in every situation and circumstance. I'm just sorry. I don't believe it. You can't convince me of it. You can say it all day and all night, but I don't believe it, okay? I don't know how to do it 100%, and you around me. So we're the same. So my point in saying that is this. If I don't expect you to do it perfectly, I can forgive you faster when you don't. Because I know you are doing the best you can, and you're trying the best you can with your blocks, just like I'm trying the best I can with my blocks. So when you don't always do it, I won't be devastated because I know you couldn't do it in the first place. You're learning how to do it. So I'm much cooler with people now than I was when I expected them to act at a level that they're not capable of, even if they told me they were going to do it. Even if that person says, I'm going to love you forever, I'm going to be here for you forever, you can count on me forever. I go, wow, that's a great idea. That's a wonderful thought. And it'll be great if you did. But I'm not gonna make my happiness dependent on you doing it. Because I know you could change on a dime. I know I could do something that displeased you, or you could have a rough day, or you could be dealing with your own issues, and you might not be there for me. And so I have to accept that you are a work in progress, and I'm a work in progress also. Okay, then I can be forgiving. Yes.
So it feels like a win-win situation to me, because even if I show up in a situation where I'm not practicing perfect love, the lessons I'm learning and the reflections I'm getting and the healing that's coming through that is still moving in the right direction.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
The only thing that Spirit is requiring of us, according to this, is to decide on the direction we want to go in. And then once we've decided on the direction we want to go in, it says everything else will be provided. The problem is most people have not made a wholehearted decision for happiness and joy and peace. They think it's not showing up, but to be honest, they've never really made a commitment to it. They're waiting for it to show up, then they'll make a commitment to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like me saying, I'm going to love you when you love me first. And then when I really see you loving me, then I'm going to love you. That's the way we do it. But if the world is a mirror, it's not going to show up until I give it. I'm not going to see this shirt reflected back to me until I'm wearing it. So to be in this world expecting that something's going to come to you first and then you're going to then respond is as crazy as me standing in front of a mirror and saying I want to see a red shirt while I'm wearing this top, Your world is a three-dimensional reflection of your own consciousness, all of your consciousness, not just the consciousness you are aware of, all of it. You're just aware of the tip of the iceberg. It's much more the iceberg under the water than we see at the top. That's true about us. You see just the tip of your consciousness and you think you see the whole iceberg. Your world is the whole iceberg. And that's depressing if you're not experiencing your world as joyful or peaceful. But that's okay. You're not experiencing this joyful or peaceful, Earl, because of the meaning you're giving to the iceberg. It's not the iceberg that's making me unhappy. It's the way I'm looking at it. I could look at it as this stuff that I'm going through right now is an opportunity for me to remember the truth about myself and to let go of every block that's keeping me from being happy for the rest of my life. Or I can look at it like, this is another example of how the truth doesn't work and nobody really loves me and I can't count on anything. It's neutral. It's just up to me how I want to look at it, right? So I'm going to say over and over again, like I always say, you are loved, you are loving, and you are lovable. I'm not going to call you guilty. I'm not going to call you sinful. I'm not going to say you are not valuable. I'm not going to say you're not a treasure. But if I did say that, I'd have a much larger class. But because people who say that have large congregations and mega churches with people who tithe. It's deep, ain't it? You tell people they're sinful and going to hell, and you have 20,000 seat church. You tell people they're innocent, and you'll never know who's going to show up. Right, because that's opposite to what we believe. You think you're a sinner, and I tell you you're a sinner, you're going to believe me, and you're going to come to me, and you're going to come to my church, because I'm telling you what you already think about yourself. You come here, and I'm telling you you're totally innocent and powerful, and you don't die, and you don't lose, and you're not separate from God. If you don't believe that, you'll think this is a meaningless class and never want to come back again.
So,
Yeah.
so then it's beautiful because all of us who are here are telling ourselves that the truth.
Right. That means there's a part of you that wanted to hear what I just said. That means that there's a part of you that believes what I just said. Right. That's the proof, is the class. Because the outer is a reflection of the inner, so that means everything you're hearing me say is actually coming from you. I'm telling you what you want to hear. So that means a part of you does want to hear you're loving and lovable and you can't lose and you're not guilty. I'm the proof of that. This class is the proof of that. We're your witnesses that there's a part of you that loves you so much. So the challenge is, will you invest in that part of you?
I drove all the way from Albuquerque to be here today.
I know, and she lives in Albuquerque. And she's going home right after the class. She'll be back next week.
I'm going with you.
I know, it means a lot to me that you value it enough to do that. That's absolutely moves me. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So, let's go further. I'm going to do 10 minutes of, I've got 2 more minutes. Anybody else want to say anything?
So you said I can believe that all that's showing up is my opportunity to deal with, and experience my parts that I'm not aware of?
Right. Right. The world is a reflection of your unconscious, subconscious mind. You're looking at your own thoughts, but you don't know it. So that's how you know what's really going on in your mind. Not by what you're telling yourself is going on in your mind, but what you perceive. See, if I say I love myself and I'm surrounded by people who hate me and attack me, there's a part of me that doesn't love me. How do I know that? I'm surrounded by people who hate me and attack me. But that's not the way the ego or the unaware mind operates. This is the way it operates. It says, I'm a good person amid all these bastards.
Why am I surrounded?
Yeah, like I'm this nice person. Why do I keep attracting this? I'm such a nice person and everybody else is so crappy. That's what the wrong-minded, asleep person says to themselves. A person that's conscious is going, wow, I got a lot of cause for love and some guilt and some fears that I need to allow spirit to help me undo and release. Thank you all for showing me that I have some work to do. And now that you've shown me that I have some work to do, you can go now. And that's what happens. The once you own it, as being a part of your consciousness, they literally leave and leave you alone. As long as you're pretending that it has nothing to do with you whatsoever, then every day you have somebody upsetting you. Every day you have somebody upsetting you. Every day you have somebody showing up that you wish were not there. And you don't realize they're showing up until you internalize what you're seeing as being something you need to take a look at that needs to be healed within yourself with the help of spirit. Notice I'm not saying you have to do it by yourself. Yeah.
So here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
I have been very conscious of when people show up that are tough to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And I have said for years, what do I need to learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 51 years old,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying now?
Mm-hmm.
This is fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I'm just so frustrated with it.
Mm-hmm.
So frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not learning the lesson. Whatever the lesson is, I'm not learning.
Well, one thing is so cool, it will keep showing up. It will keep, and also ask yourself, you know, do I have a spiritual practice? And do I have a spiritual practice that I do every day? Do I have a curriculum that I'm trying to learn through other than me trying to figure it out as I go along?
That's fair.
Because that's what I noticed in over 35 years of teaching, is that people try to make up their spiritual path as they go along, being advised by the part of their mind that's already depressed, angry, and afraid, and don't really know what's going on. Just like they say, you know, a lawyer, you know, what is it, the doctor who treats himself as a fool for a patient. You know, that's what we do. We go, okay, I want it to be different, but we don't learn a new curriculum and do a spiritual practice that allows us to see things another way. That's the most common thing that I see, is that people, especially in the West, we're such an individualist, I'm going to take care of it, I'm going to do it myself kind of a country, that everybody thinks that they're going to, what the Course says, one of the main laws of chaos is that the truth is different for everyone. And so we are people who say, well, I have my own truth. And then you have your own truth. And he says that's the most ridiculous thing in the world, because nobody knows your truth but you. So there's got to be a common set of universal laws that apply to all of us equally, even though we will apply them in our own individual way, which is different from, like, we're all using the law of gravity, but you may be using it to go to the kitchen, and somebody else might be using it to go to get in the car. But we all are operating from the laws of gravity. So truth students want to get in touch with the universal laws that are underlying everything that apply to everyone equally. That's one of the reasons why I got into metaphysics and New Thought, because coming up in the black experience, I was constantly told that I was a victim of a majority that I was a minority of. And so I was told constantly that the color of my skin and how people like me would determine how far I would go in the world. So when I was introduced to metaphysics and it said, no, there are universal laws that apply to everyone equally, regardless of race, creed, color, sex, ethnic group, then I said, oh, well, I'm bad. I want that. And then I found out it was true, that everybody, regardless of their race, they're giving everything they see all the meaning that it has for them. That everybody, regardless of their race, they are experiencing their own thoughts, and that's what their world is made of. Okay, so that's what I love about this. It transcends culture. It transcends individual ideas about what's true. But like you were saying, if you default back now to that, it's just mucked up. For those of you who explode when you hear anything that sounds like profanity. Even as you are seeing yourself as totally enlightened. Don't take it personal. You know, if you say that without going, what is it in me that's making me see it as mucked up? Then I'm stuck. Because
Say it again.
if I don't ask, why I'm seeing it that way. And if I don't ask for another way, it's okay to admit to myself I feel like it's mucked up. Okay? But don't stop there. Then go, I want to see this differently. What is it that I need to see differently about it? And then people say, well, I'm not getting an answer to that. And I always go, or any truth book, there are tons of them. There are millions of them. You don't, now with technology and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, you don't even have to have the books. You know, if somebody who really wants to see things another way in this age has absolutely no excuse. But most people say they want to see it a different way, but they never look for the different way and apply the different way. And that's all I'm saying. That it won't be enough to say, I got a recipe book if I never put the cake together and put it in the oven. And so it's time for us to stop looking at the recipe book and start to do what it says. And if you don't, you're completely innocent. The universe will let you, the universe always says yes. So if you say my life is screwed up and it'll never be happy, the universe says
Yes.
If you say that I'm broke and I'll always be broke, the universe says
Yes.
If you say I'll be alone and there's no one for me, the universe says
Yes.
But if you say I deserve love, the universe says yes. If you say there's no loss for me, the universe says yes. It's always going to say yes. Not going to punish you, it's just going to say yes. And then you'll see what you believe. Right? So now we're going to enter into a deliberate purification. Okay? Beloved friends, please consider each of the statements that has just been made to you. We suggest that you write down each statement at the top of a separate piece of paper. Then begin a process in which for 1 week you abide with each of these statements. Notice we are given the recipe. Right? So I was told to write down the statements that you don't lose, but I just read, right? On a separate piece of paper, then begin a process in which for 1 week you live with each of these statements. What do we mean by that? We mean that as often as you choose through desire, set aside time to merely abide with the statement. Set aside some time to do what? Go, it's not possible for me to taste genuine loss. It's not possible for me to lose. In that relationship I just had, I didn't lose. In that financial situation that I thought I just experienced, it looked like I lost, but I really didn't lose. In other words, I'm going to take that statement. I'm going to contemplate that statement. I'm going to apply that statement to everything that I'm telling myself. And he says to do it with each one of them. That's application. Then it goes on to say, then watch what comes up in your mind when you say that. It's not possible for me to experience genuine loss. What comes up in my mind is, crap, I can lose. So then you write that down. You could never lose. You don't know what you're talking about. I lost just last week. You see, he says, write down whatever comes up. See, then he says, what you will discover are many pictures, many ideas, and even certain feelings that seem to indicate to you that the statement must not be entirely true. So if I tell you you're innocent, you're innocent, you're innocent, you've never sinned, you're totally innocent, you're totally innocent, you're totally innocent, you're completely innocent, you have never sinned, you are the most innocent thing in the world. Any feelings you have to the opposite are going to come up. If I say it enough times, then you're going to go, well, you don't know what I did last week after that concert I went to. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying that when you hear these statements, what you think to the contrary is going to come up. What's good about that is now you know where the pain is coming from that you are experiencing. It's coming from your belief in the opposite. And since you have a belief in the opposite, you experience the opposite. And then that makes you say this must not be true. So just by saying the truth to yourself over and over again, it's like squeezing a toothpaste tube and everything that's the opposite comes out for you to look at. That's why when you tell somebody, I love you, and you're in a relationship, everything but love will come up in the relationship. Because now that you are focusing on love, everything that's not love has to be released. That's why you make a commitment at the beginning to stick it out with each other if you love each other, because you are mature enough to not expect the relationship to not have some things come up that are the opposite of love. You're not a child who's idealistic and thinks that because you're in a relationship, you're not gonna never get upset with each other. Never, never, never. You're just gonna smile at each other all day long. Well, this says that you will get to a point that you will be so certain of the love between you that you could sit at the table and say to each other, you know, last night I really wanted to chop your head off and just feed it to our dog. But the dog didn't want it. And then your partner, knowing you just expressing some ego thoughts, because the truth is you all have nothing but love, would go, oh, really? Cool. Would you pass the jelly? And that'll be the end of it. But if you don't have a real relationship, you're traumatized. Oh, how could you say that? You know, and so you're not really realistic about what happens in the healing process, which is that love brings up everything unlike itself. So you've made a commitment that you know that's going to happen because you've already been taught by your inner teacher it will. So you don't take things so seriously when they come up. So therefore, it can come up and it can leave. It can be gone because you're not putting so much power in it. Oh, yeah, I know I have an ego, and I know I have grievances, and I know I have a script, and I know I have things I want you to do, and then I want everybody to do, and if you don't do it, I know I make myself mad, and I'm making myself mad right now because I really think you should have done this last night. That's what came up for me. I'm telling myself my happiness depends on you. I know that's really not true, but I want you to tell you this is what I made myself feel last night. Help me see it another way. That's what so you handle all of it differently when you start waking up. You make the commitment first because you know you're going to go through your stuff together. That's why y'all chose each other. Y'all chose each other because you were the perfect match to bring up each other's stuff. Okay, you were the perfect storm. Came right together. But you love each other. And how you know? Because at the very beginning, when nothing either one of you all could do that upset the other one, and you'd be just so happy, and you were so glad, and they couldn't do any wrong, because you were having what I call the preview of coming attraction. Okay, you were getting a chance to see what the relationship is going to be like after you all have healed your minds. And that gets you in the relationship. It's like, okay, this is the way you're going to really be one day for real. Okay, so just remember this, the honeymoon period, it's the way you're going to really be for real one day. Now that y'all see how he's going to end up if you do your spiritual practice, now let's go to work. And here's everything that you need to take a look at that they're going to trigger. And here's everything that they need to take a look at that you're going to trigger. And in between that, you're going to go to Red Rocks and watch a show. Yay! You can pass this around for me. Right? Right. So then it says, this is the way for you to deepen your ability to observe what is actually occurring within the field of your own mind. Now, what is it that deepens your ability to observe what's actually happening in your mind? Contemplating on one of these statements, seeing what comes up to the contrary, and writing it down. Because now you're taking the iceberg below the water and you're making yourself aware of it. And so that deepens your ability to observe what's going on within your own mind. And that is deliberate purification. So when it says purification, it's saying be honest, you're being honest with yourself about everything that's going on within you. That's purification. For me to be honest with myself. Now, it's one thing for me to tell you I'm doing fine when I don't feel fine. But if I'm telling myself I'm feeling fine when I don't feel fine, now that's a problem. When you get to the point that you start lying to yourself about what you feel, you're in trouble. So one thing to tell me you're feeling great when you wanted to commit suicide before you came here. That's okay. Most people don't tell the truth about how they're feeling when you ask them how they're doing, and they don't really think you're really interested anyway, and you really aren't. So it works out fine. But how you doing, Rod? Well, come over here. Let me tell you exactly what's been going on all day. Like, I didn't really want to get that much information. I just want you to say you're doing fine. And then we can go to the kitchen and get some water or something. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So denial can never purify the mind, for you cannot transcend what you refuse to embrace. You can't go beyond your anger until you embrace it. You can't go beyond your selfishness until you embrace it. You can't go beyond your guilt until you embrace it. You can't go beyond something until you embrace it. For in embracing does love return to the place where shadow once dwelt. If you haven't had a chance to sign up for the contact list, it's the way I let you know workshops and things that I'm doing. It's also how you receive a link to the video to watch the class again. So repetition is how we change our mind. You will not change your mind. In most cases, you will not change your mind because you came to the class tonight. I read in the book that said you have to hear something 9 times before you even hear it.
Wow.
So the whole idea that you're really going to get this because you're here tonight, no, this is one of your 9. This is moving you toward hearing it. Because we'll hear this maybe, right, for an hour and a half, and then we'll go out there and we hear everything that's just the opposite of that on the news, on TV, your friends. You think about how much you hear the opposite and how little you hear the truth. And then you're shocked that your whole world didn't change. Interesting. So he says, love alone heals all things. Only love will heal your problem. Only love will heal your problem. So the innocent need not fear. Therefore, because you are innocent, it means you are completely free to be thoroughly honest. When you're innocent, you're thoroughly honest about what? What comes up in your mind. As you sit with each statement, just jot it down. After a 2 or 3 minute period, do what? Pause. Look at what you've come up with or what has come up within you, and then juxtapose those 2 views. In other words, take the statement that you're working with and repeat it in the mind. That's why I love the Course in Miracles workbook lessons, because that's what it's doing. It's giving us truth statements to use all day in the repetition that changes our minds. He says, then look at the statement, the picture, the description, or memory that seems to indicate that your experience is other than that statement. First I look at the statement, then I look at what I wrote down that makes me think the statement isn't true. That's all he just said. In case we're ready to think we've been asked to do something difficult. Does this sound easier in terms of having everything you've ever wanted in your heart? Or does getting up every morning, putting on your clothes, going to do a job that you don't particularly hate or inspire you for so many hours every day and a week, which seems easier? Well, which is the one that we do? Yeah, we wake up and we go do things we don't like to do a lot of times all day long, quicker than we'll do something as simple as, I'm going to take this statement, I'm going to contemplate it, I'm going to write down everything that's the opposite to this statement and makes me think that this statement isn't true, because this is purifying my mind, this is taking my thoughts up out of unconscious to have them released and purified. Y'all know that this is easier, but you also know it's most likely you will not do it.
Why is that?
Because he said there's a part of us that doesn't think we're worthy of it, and there's a part of us that doesn't believe it's true. That's why he said that you will say the statement and then you have the thoughts that come up to tell you all the reasons why it's not true. Well, because a part of us doesn't believe this will work. That's why we don't do it. But we do believe going to that job that we don't like will work. But it's hard to believe that releasing yourself from your limiting thoughts automatically allows the universe to give you the abundance that you need to stay. Because then you become a living example of the truth. And the truth needs witnesses. The truth needs those people who walk around in the world who are exemplifying the love and the joy and the peace that the truth brings. So the truth will help you be a witness to it if you do simple things like this, which most people won't. And so I'm not condemning you if you don't. We're just seeing why we don't get the result we say we won't. So we can't say it's not happening because any other reason other than I'm not doing what I'm being asked to do. I'm not writing down the statements. I'm not contemplating the statement. I don't even have a friggin' book. And I've been coming to the class for months. But I am expecting it to work. And I'm upset if it doesn't. So are you really sincere when you say you want something, but you're not willing to do the means to have it? How can you possibly say you are sincere about mastery and don't have the book? How can you possibly say you're sincere about anything that you're not doing any of the things it says to achieve it? That's not a condemnation, that's just a reality check. And usually, the people who are most dissatisfied are the ones who are not doing anything but expressing their dissatisfaction. That's it. I'm just dissatisfied. I'm just dissatisfied. So I'm not judging you. I'm not condemning you. I'm just trying to show you that you're not a victim. That you're getting exactly what you're putting out is exactly what you're receiving. That's all I'm saying. The universe can't wait to give you the ease and the flow. Now you're gonna come up against the part of you that doesn't believe you deserve it. You're going to come up against the part of you that believes what the world teaches. And that part of you is going to be doing everything in its power to discourage you from being consistent in doing what we're being told. And if you're not aware of that, you're going to let it stop you. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you make a commitment to having joy and love and happiness in your life, the part of you that doesn't think you deserve to have it is going to do everything in its power to sabotage it so that you go back to thinking the way it thinks. And it's going to be most intense at doing that at the beginning. So the hardest part of the spiritual path is the beginning. It doesn't get harder as you go along. It gets easier as you go along if you're doing it. The hardest part is the beginning. Why? Because the hardest part is getting started. The hardest part is actually buying the friggin' book and starting to study it. The hardest part is being consistent and coming to a class that supports you. That's the hardest part, is getting started. You know? And so, as you continue to do this, if you're doing it, the way will appear to get easier. If you're doing it. Now, if you think you've been doing it a long time and you're not getting the result, you're not doing it. You're thinking about doing it. You're analyzing doing it. You're philosophizing about doing it. Or the part of you that wants to prove to you that it doesn't work is getting you to put forth some effort, sorta, and then it clobbers you. And so you go, I'm really trying and it's not happening. Because I can quit if I can say I tried and it's not happening. So I want to be able to, it's like people who come, it's like a couple who comes to me for counseling who really don't want to be together no more, but they're coming so they can say they went to counseling. So then you sit down and you show them how they could easily be together, and instead of being happy, they are more depressed than they were when they first came in. Because they really don't want to be together anymore. They just want to say they gave it a good shot. But the people who want to be together, they go, Raj, thank you so much for showing us that. We see what you're talking about. I see where I'm doing that. We're going to work on that together. We're going to see if we can do that. The ones who really don't want to be together, they are going to be depressed. So if you really don't want to believe this works, you're going to fake like you're really trying, and it'll look like it didn't work. So you can stop, which is what a part of you wanted to do anyway. Deep. All right, Chris.
And so, what a lot of times what stops me from doing these exercises is that I believe I need to do them perfect in order for them to work. Right. So all you just explained was the part of your mind that sabotages you
That's how it does it. That's all you just shared. That's all you just shared. You just took your unconscious block and you exposed it, right? So what does that mean? It means I know that I tell myself I've got to do it perfect or I'm not going to do it at all, but guess what? That's crap. So I'm going to do it anyway. And now you've gone past the block. I know I tell myself I need to do it perfect, but it didn't say I needed to do it perfect, so I'm just going to do it anyway. Now I saw my block, and my block didn't stop me. It's really that simple. It's like, I see what my issue is, but my desire for this is stronger than my block. So my desire is going to pull me past the block. The Course in Miracles says, your desire for the thing beyond an obstacle will pull you past the obstacle. Like if I really want to be in a loving relationship with you, whatever comes up is not going to stop me, because my desire to be joined with you is stronger than my desire to be separate from you. So it'll pull me past the block. But if I really don't want to be with you anyway, then the first block that comes up with us, I'm going to drop you. And that's what happens a lot, especially in New Age relationships. The minute the person upsets you any kind of way, I'm through with you, I'm done. And I'm enlightened. So just be honest with yourself. Just be honest with yourself. And pay attention to your feelings. And your feelings will tell you a lot about what you really believe. Your feelings will always tell you what you believe, actually. Your feelings are the right use of judgment. Your feelings are the right use of judgment. Your feelings are the right use of judgment. It's not saying your feelings are always right, but your feelings are always showing you what you believe. And it's what you believe is what you're going to see. So if it don't feel good, doesn't feel peaceful, it probably is not going to have a good outcome for you. Even if there was no reason for you to feel bad about it. But the fact that you do means you're going to create probably a negative experience for yourself because you don't feel good about it. Don't do things that make you feel guilty. Now, because the thing that you're doing is something to feel guilty about, the thing that you're about to do might not be anything to feel guilty about. But if you feel guilty about it, you're going to punish yourself for doing it. You can count on it. You're going to give yourself a lousy outcome. So go in the direction of doing what you feel innocent about and changing your mind about what you think is guilty. That's simple, isn't it? But you'll be amazed at how difficult it is to play that out because we love guilt. We think guilt makes us good people. You know, you're a good person because you feel guilty about this, that, and the other. And he's saying to you, no, guilt is you saying to the universe, punish me, 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 punish me. Punish me, punish me, punish me, punish me. So, anybody else? Anything anybody want to share or any questions? Yeah.
No, I was just saying.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm just feeling really encouraged because, you know, everything you're saying is giving me peace and I just appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
I really needed to hear everything you're saying tonight.
Me too. That's why I teach, because it guarantees that I'll hear something that I need to hear. I'm not waiting for anybody else to say it. That's why I teach. For that very reason. I am not leaving my salvation and my peace to chance. I'm going to make sure I hear. My thoughts create my reality. My thoughts create my reality. My beliefs create my reality. I'm just experiencing my thoughts and beliefs. Then I need to make sure I have some thoughts and beliefs that I want to see manifested. And I don't want to be around people that's only talking this stuff that is the past in my mind. I want to hear this stuff right here. And we can still party, and we can still dance, and we can still go to movies, and we can still walk in the park, and we can still make love, and we can still do all the stuff I used to do when I thought I was guilty. It's not asking me to sacrifice one single thing. I can eat ice cream, I can do anything I did before, but I can do it with some different content, with a different conversation, with a different focus. And then when you're around the people who don't talk that way, you will be completely okay. Because you're full of the truth, so they can't affect you anyway. There's no place they can touch you because you're full. It's like somebody can't tempt you with food when you just had a full stomach's worth. So if I keep myself full of truth, then those who represent those parts of myself that don't want to practice it, they have no effect on me. As a matter of fact, they don't even want to be around me. They can't stand being around me. They'll get away from me as quick as they can, and that's a blessing. Don't try to chase after people who don't appreciate you. That's like you saying, I'm insisting on continuing to be unappreciated. I want you back. Let them go. He talks about that in here. That when you really start to see relationships correctly, when a relationship breaks up, you will be ecstatic. You won't be sad. You'll be, wow, I learned everything I could from that one. And that was great. That was awesome. What's next? I'm not there all the time yet, depending on how much I want to suffer. But that's where you're going to look at it one day. Wouldn't that be great? You know, if somebody left and you went, wow, that was awesome. That was a great experience. Now something's even better is on the way. Oh, yeah. What's possible? You know, what you say in Access? How does it get better than this? Yeah, how does it get better than this? Okay, so it says, as you juxtapose it in this way, look at what has come up within your mind, be honest about it, and if it's an event that occurred last week, if it's an event that occurred last year, or 10 years ago, or 500 years ago, it doesn't matter. What? It doesn't matter. As you look at the event, simply ask, has this belief or this perception of myself that seems to be in opposition to the statement at the top of the page, has it really changed anything about me? Has it taken my existence from me? All this stuff that I'm feeling bad about, these disbeliefs I have they really taken my existence from me? Whatever you all went through in the past doesn't matter, because obviously it didn't stop you. You're all sitting here. So you survived it, you overcame it. Why are you still dwelling on it? I don't even know about it until you tell me. That's how unreal it is. You got to tell me about the thing that happened in the past that you're unhappy about. I don't see it until you tell me about it. So why are you still letting it have any effect on you when you survived it? Because everybody's got a story as to why they're not enjoying their life right now based on something that they experienced in the past. Why would you hang on to it but for one reason? You want to suffer guilt. I know my way around my misery. You see, I know how to distrust all of you all, but I don't know how to be completely vulnerable to you. So I'd much rather keep my old beliefs, because then I can stay justified in my distrust. Because I know my way around not trusting you. But being completely open to you, that's scary. You see? So we really like to hang on to the past because it gives us an excuse for not loving. I'm going to love all of y'all when y'all act right. I promise you. When y'all act right, I got some love for you. When you do it just like I want you to do it, you can count on me. I'm your man. You act out my fantasy, I love you. That's
why I like you. I said, and that's why I like you.
That's exactly right. I got a couple of fantasies for you. All right, now. I love people who they're cool enough to play with. Some people went, it's funny, I just, they do splinter muscle. Did he say that? I'm enlightened, you know, open-minded too. Okay. It's so cool. It's so cool. When you really get into the truth and see how full of crap you are, it just, you have to laugh at yourself. When you see just how much you lie to yourself all the time about how open-minded you are, how loving you are, and all that stuff. It's so funny. It's like, man, you know, people ain't like a word to kill them, you know. So anyway, There's one strange thing that can happen when you ask for what you want, just how you want it. You'll be surprised at how many times when you just go ahead and ask for it, the universe will give it to you, or the person you ask for it from will give it to you. But you've been trying to manipulate it into being when you just could have asked. You know, it's so funny. If you can handle maybe realizing that that person isn't the one that's supposed to give it to you. And in that case, they'll simply say, police! Okay. Or they just say no. I promise you, you'll survive. No won't kill you. All it means is this was the worst person on earth to have that desire fulfilled with. That's all no means. I love you so much, I'm saying no. But then if you get a yes, don't hold back. Ponder all you want about your decisions, but once you actually make the decision, then abandon yourself in the decision.
Nice.
Do all your pondering and figuring, should I, but once you go, all right, this is it. It's like diving off a diving board. It's a total commitment. The once you dive, you went for it, 100%. That's what I feel whenever I fly in an airplane. So once it leaves the ground, I just go ahead and get my 2 peanuts. Because because it's a total commitment at that point. You just will watch a movie. You know, don't even think about what the pilot did last night. Don't even let that cross your mind. Okay. Because you have to be that about everything. You have to make a total commitment. I'm totally committed to love. I'm totally committed to my freedom. And that pisses people off. I tell you. Freedom. Don't say love is freedom. Love is anything but freedom. All right. Simply see what the answer is. Then lift your eyes from the page. Look around. Say within the mind, I'm free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I'm free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. So here's the process. First, I take a truth statement. I contemplate the truth statement. I see what comes up in my mind that tries to convince me that the truth statement isn't true. I lift my eyes. I look around and say, I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. Then take just a moment or two and abide, just looking around you. Then go back to the statement at the top of the page and say it again out loud at least 3 times. I cannot lose. I cannot lose. I cannot lose. It says, then merely say within your mind quietly, this is the truth about me. I want only the truth. Then put it away and be about your business. And then the next day, bring it out and do the exercise again. Do that kind of process for 1 week for each of the statements given you. And rest assured, purification will be occurring in the depth of the mind. Each of you will experience the purification in your own way. But you will experience the purification. Remember always this. The only thing that can be transformed is what's been embraced. The only thing that can be transformed is the mind. It is by the power. Does everybody have a mind? Okay, just want to check in. Okay. It is by the power of the mind itself that purification occurs. And here's the last paragraph of this section, the perfect time to end. Now, the Course in Miracles, now that's why I always call this the Way of Mastery in the Course in Miracles class, because I share from both books. And the Course in Miracles says that we use our minds to come up with everything but our own mind that needs to change. So I'm using my mind to come up with everything but my mind that needs to change. I'm coming up with what you need to do to make me happy. I'm coming up where I need to go to make, I'm using my mind to come up with everything but my mind needing to change. He says that's how we use the mind in the wrong way. We use our mind to think of who needs to please us or who needs to make us happy instead of using our mind to change our mind. It even goes so far as to say you can get to the point that your willingness is so great, you can allow your mind to be changed by your higher self for you. He said, but we haven't acquired that level of willingness yet because of our desire to be right about what we think is going on. But I could let Spirit change my mind. That's what I'm working on. I think it would be just, I would love to give Spirit power of attorney and just go, you overruled me. And I did that, and it was a trip because 90% of everything I asked for didn't happen. Because 90% of what I was asking for wasn't for my own best interest. That's why I was unhappy to begin with. So you may find when you ask God to take over that it looks like everything that you're asking for doesn't occur because it simply isn't for your own best interest and you don't know it. Woo! So just as desire is essential to realization, so too is willingness or allowance essential to realization. So you've heard us say unto you many times that you are required only to offer a little willingness, just what you call a smidgen. I want a little, I just need y'all to have a little friggin' smidgen. Just a little smidgen of being happy and a desire to be happy. Anybody here got at least a smidgen? I got a pet smidgen at home. I'm gonna feed my smidgen. I call him Smidge. All right. How many of y'all willing to say y'all got a smidgen of willingness? All right, all right. So I want you to measure out a smidgen of willingness, which is the same as a smidgen of allowance, and sprinkle it with sprinkle your willingness, your smidgen of allowance upon your experiences. And then sprinkle your willingness across the world. Sprinkle your smidgen of willingness. Sprinkle your smidgen of willingness. Sprinkle your smidgen of willingness upon your own being. So basically it's saying, have a little bit of willingness to be blessed. Have a little bit of willingness to be loved. Have a little bit of willingness for your life to flow with ease. Have a little bit of willingness to be free. Just a little bit. So tonight's Spirit was very helpful to us. It gave us very specific things to do. So how can I say the truth doesn't work if I don't do anything I'm being asked to do? That's the question. So in honor of your smidgen of willingness, could we acknowledge ourselves for being here tonight? We had a smidgen of willingness to come. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick review, and we'll be able to go back out and create some more guilt. And so,
Hurry.
So I'm going to pass the financial expression of appreciation. I'm a full-time teacher of the course in the Way of Mastery. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for your willingness to see value in what I do enough to share with me. Those of you online, go to my website, earlpurdy.com, if you'd like to also give a financial expression of appreciation. And I would invite you to have a clarity session with me where we can work together to get past the block that you have to your prosperity, abundance, happiness, and another way of looking at things. I hope.
Well, I would just like to share that I feel really rejuvenated from hearing those very clear, direct instructions. And it sort of evoked like my little inner witch in me, because I feel like you gave us a recipe to a potion. And I'm like, oh, I want to try this potion out. Like, I know that's a little fairy tale-ness of me that is really excited.
Well,
So
thank you for being such a cute, inspirational little witch. When you gonna come by and pick me up on your broom? Thank you, thank you. I saw you zipping across the sky just the other night. Yeah, I love very specific things. So those of you who'd like to have a clarity session with me, go to my website and it explains the details about it. And if you're also open to intuitive insight through astrology and numerology, then I'm available to do that as a part of it, but it's not necessary for me to work with you. I hope at some point all of you will choose to have a session with me. You would be amazed at what would happen with us working one-on-one. But the same thing also is true. If things come through me to share with you, because I've been working with this so long, but you walk out and you do not remember it or apply it or listen to it, then don't say that it didn't help to come. Don't say I didn't do my part, because I am devoted and I'm very sincere in what I do. I had to stop caring more than the people who come to me about their own happiness. That's what I had to stop doing. I thought I was more excited about people's lives than they were. You know, I'm all like, hey, you can do this, and then see this right here, and you can do this, and it's like the same thing like the married couple. They get depressed because they don't want to love themselves yet. They think that suffering and feeling guilty is what's going to absolve them of their guilt. And so they've already decided what the answer is. The answer is to suffer. And so they don't want to hear the real answer. Oh, I'm doing my part. I've come up with my solution. I'm just going to be miserable. And I'm going to be miserable so much that one day I'll be happy. I just turn happy. I'm going to miserable myself into happiness. So I'm not going to side with you, and I'm not going to support it at all. I'm not going to join you in your suffering. And I don't want you to join me in mine.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not. I refuse. Sunday is, of course, the miracles at 1 o'clock. And a miracle is a correct perception. A miracle is a correct perception. And it teaches that if we have a correct perception, it's a miracle. And that's why it's called A Course in Miracles. Okay, and I think that's hilarious, you know. So tonight, that's one thing that anybody like to share, one thing that they heard tonight that they would like to use as the statement that they would like to keep in mind.
Being guilty does not make me a good person, and guilt is just a request for punishment.
Yes. Yes. And then when you see it correctly, you say guilt is a request for love. When your mind changes, you'll stop asking for punishment with it, and you'll realize you're asking for love with it.
I liked your pathway is awakening to you.
Your pathway is awakening to you.
It's like taking a nice deep breath and exhaling, and it's
cool.
It's just, it's there.
It's there. It's just waiting for you. Yeah. Yeah.
The reason we don't do some of the things that we know will be good for us is because we either don't feel we deserve it, or we don't, something else doesn't believe it.
Yes, I don't think I deserve it, or I don't believe it. Thank you.
My thoughts and beliefs create my reality, so that's why I teach, because I always hear something cool.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Brother.
So I wrote down here, the only thing that can be transformed is what has been embraced.
That's right.
Is that your?
Came
right from the.
It came from the material. I'm a brilliant reader.
I was gonna attribute so I won't attribute it to you.
That's okay. That's all right. You can attribute all good things to me. Billy?
I'm free in this moment to choose to see things differently.
That's exactly right. I am free in this moment to choose. I'm free in this moment to choose to see things differently.
My experience is a reflection of my own mind.
My experiences and all the cool stuff is too. So when you hear that statement, don't just think in terms of what you don't like, being a reflection of your mind, but all the cool things in your life is also a reflection of what's in your mind. All the loving people.
I'm gonna sprinkle my smidge of willingness on my own being.
Oh, thank you, Samantha. Bewitched.
Twinkle your nose.
Trickle your nose. Okay.
Yeah, the truth transcends culture, race, gender.
Yeah, the truth transcends culture, race, and gender. It works for everybody regardless of race, creed, color, or anything. Okay, so we're going to end with one statement I'm going to repeat over and over again for about 2 minutes or so. And that's so that we can kind of keep it in mind. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. I am free in this moment to choose to see things differently. We are free in this moment to choose to see things differently. We are free in this moment to choose to see things differently. We are free in this moment to choose to see things differently. We are free in this moment to choose to see things differently. We are free in this moment to choose to see things differently. Yeah, let's give it up. Woo! Guns are available. I love you so much, and you deserve to be paid for having fun. Yeah! That's exactly right. See y'all out there in virtual land.